So with this being a Friday show, it's going to be a lot more laid back. We got some news around some altcoins that I want to share with you. Some XDC. We're going to be talking ALGO. They had a hot September, put it together in a report. They made some interesting relationships with a certain council. We're going to talk about who that council is, as well as a few other headlines that caught my attention around the crypto payment space. One of you asked about Constellation and what they were up to. Well, they have a pretty interesting conference happening in a couple of weeks. And I believe Panasonic may be involved. We'll talk about it. Stripe integrating crypto payments in the US. And we got some stablecoin activity out in Brazil. If you're new to the channel, my name is Wade. You're watching DHN. I've been in the crypto space since 2019. I've researched over 1,000 crypto assets. I run this channel just to share all that knowledge with you. I'm not some type of big time investor. I ain't no millionaire yet. I just enjoy sharing this information with people because it's not being shared. Yet it's the most revolutionary thing I've ever seen in my life. So with that, let's talk about XDC Subnet official release. This news came out October 8th, a couple days ago, courtesy of XDC's blog. Now, when I was reading this, it was very technical, and I don't want to bog your head down. It's the afternoon. You've been at work all day. I don't want to do all that. Subnet can simply be translated to an additional layer to the XDC network. So you have the original XDC network. These subnets will be networks on top of the XDC network. Layer 2s. Layer 2s are coming to the XDC network. And you can see the screenshot here. They give us a nice visual of what this is going to look like. And I can up this +1 by showing you an example of what this can be at large scale. There's an asset in the space. I've covered it before. It's called Avalanche. They've been working on this subnet technology since they entered the market. I would argue that they specialize in the subnet technology. And if XDC is following this model, then this could get very, very huge. I'm going to show you a couple things here. Scroll down this page. They talk about the benefits of XDC subnets: privacy, cost reduction, scalability, efficiency, transparency and customization, interoperability, rapid deployment. Through their UI, you can configure one of these subnets in under 10 minutes. XDC zero interoperability, cross-chain seamless functionality. It'll be able to communicate with not just XDC network, but the other networks within the XDC bubble. Now, we go over here to the subnet page for Avalanche. I like how Avalanche writes their blog posts. They're writing for the people, not the developers. Again, not a knock against the developers, but as if we want this to get closer to mainstream, we have to tailor the language for it. Well, notice the difference in how Avalanche puts this. On Avalanche, a subnet, short for subnetwork, is a set of nodes or validators collectively responsible for reaching consensus on the transactions associated with one or more blockchains. It can be thought of as a network inside of a network, or alternatively, a network built on top of a larger one, much like the explanation that I gave you. And if we go down to the list of benefits of subnets on Avalanche: easy scalability, decreased gas fees or cost reduction. There's not a lot of gas fees. There's virtually none on XDC. That's probably why they worded it as cost reduction. Increased transactions per second, interoperability, validator selectivity, extensive customization options. So if they're following Avalanche's subnet business model, I'm going to show you what this could look like. Coming into 2024, AVAX, their subnets alone accounted for $2.6 billion in market cap. Avalanche's market cap, as of this morning, is $10 billion. So the subnets can get very valuable. And in a minute, XDC Network's dashboard could look a lot like this one. This is Avalanche's dashboard, and you can see how they categorize it as layer 1s. These are subnets. Some of them have tokens, some of them don't. Some of these have some of these projects. There are teams behind these subnets, and they have had their own success this year. Beam is one of them. They landed a huge partnership with IMX earlier this year. So now their games are being distributed simply on Avalanche's gaming studio marketplaces and IMX's game marketplaces. They did pretty well for themselves this year. Another one that should be of interest, Green Dot. This is their Avalanche's enterprise relationship with Deloitte. I don't even hear anybody covering that. Tried to bring Avalanche to you guys' attention. I know it's an asset that it's a little bit pricier, and it doesn't really focus their marketing here in the States. Well, it hadn't. 2024 has been different. Don't want to get too deep into Avalanche. I bring up Avalanche as an example of what XDC is aiming for by implementing this into their network. This built on top of the XDC 2.0, the DPoS 2.0, which was an upgrade to their consensus. This is a genius move. It's a genius move. I know it's been tough holding XDC, but again, when you think of XDC, you have to understand we're having a long-term discussion here, and we have to wait in most cases for the cogs to turn. Citi, however, is launching a new platform that should push things in the right direction. We're talking Citi Token Services for Cash. Just went live this morning. Now, this was first talked about last year. I have a clip here. I'm going to share with you the answer she gave to a particular question. Just making sure I still got it queued. All right, cool. Well, let's dive into this really quick. A year ago, Citi unveiled 2 tokenized deposit solutions in pilot mode. It was already in pilot mode when they introduced it. Citi Token Services for Cash enables enterprises and institutions to move money between Citi branches around the world 24/7. That part is commercially available, and Mars is one of their clients. Is that the one that does the candy? I'm pretty sure that is. That's an interesting partner. Now, the second solution, Citi Token Services for Trade, is still in pilot mode with new pilot transactions with shipping agents, CB Fenton and GAC Panama Shipping. Listen to how they describe exactly what this is. So, before its demise, Signature Bank ran an internal DLT platform. Signature was known for servicing crypto clients, but it turned out that shipping clients accounted for the highest volume of DLT transactions before FedNow launched. They mentioned FedNow in this, and they also brought up the fact that trade finance transactions, shipping clients, accounted for the majority of the transactions used on DLT networks. We've heard and seen a lot of headlines about federal bodies using and experimenting with DLT. That just slipped the sauce a little bit here. But Citi takes this a step further with Citi Token Services for Trade, using smart contracts to automatically release cash when conditions are satisfied. It says it replaces traditional trade finance instruments such as guarantees and letters of credit with smart contracts backed by tokenized cash. That is exactly what XDC does. Now, my question automatically is, does this immediately stump out XDC, or does this open a doorway? Going back to the clip that I had, she was asked here about the potential use of public or private blockchains. Check it out.
For us to be on depend on regulation, in my opinion, because right now it's only permissible for us to be on a permission chain. So if regulation changes and regulators get comfortable with public, we will definitely go down that route. But right now, from a regulatory standpoint, we're sticking with permission. So it really depends, I think, on that. And as you know, today we've talked about in the past, it's very bifurcated across the different regions, right? Between the US, EMEA, Asia, the different regulations coming out in this space. So it'll be, I think, more to come kind of in the future on that. But, we're making it where we are future-proofing our system, that if that does happen, we can move to a public chain.
Upon proper regulatory moves, they can move this to a public chain. Now, why is that relevant? Couple reasons. One, I remember when Citi didn't like crypto. This was 2019, 2020. They had a big issue. But then all of a sudden, 2020 rolled around. Their tone changed real quick. Now they're ready to connect with public blockchains. And I don't know if you remember that UDPN video that I made a couple days ago in relation to HBAR, but Citi is tied in with that as well. They were part of, no, not that one, the Regulated Liability Network, which she also talks about. There's another one of those, the Regulated Settlement Network, which incorporates all of the US companies. So what I'm getting at here is, one, the subnets that XDC are looking to introduce can be tailored to be public or private in the example of Avalanche's Deloitte Green Dot subnet. That one is private. That's probably why it hasn't been talked about, because it's kept under wraps. In the event that regulation goes through here in the United States, or in the other place that this product just launched, which was Singapore, then the door is open. Just something these are dots here that I am connecting. It's pretty interesting though. Caught my eye. Maybe looking for a reason to keep XDC alive, you can say that. Or you can look at these tokenized commodities and see that the only three chains really kicking anything is XDC, Stellar, and Ethereum. XDC has outpaced Stellar in this market, and that's largely thanks to Comtech Gold. So Comtech Gold is doing this thing for the XDC network. I remember when Comtech first got introduced, and there was a lot of speculation about it. It was a lot of speculation about whether the gold was legit or not. And as you can see, with this $11 million market cap and $500,000 trading volume, seems legit to me. Even more holders than it was last week. Now, there is one more RWA related to XDC that I'm a bit concerned about, but I'm always going to share this stuff with you, full transparency here. Remember the USTY Treasury token? Well, market cap still at 4.6, and we're still at one holder. So maybe as we get more clearer regulation and as more products like this hit the market, we'll start to see a few more holders. We'll start to see relationships maybe between XDC and Citi. If not, going back to the point I made a couple shows ago, this is a software race. So all XDC has to do is position itself in the right places. Sort of like this next asset we're finna jump into. Algorand had an amazing September. They put it together in a report. Let's look at some highlights here. Things that stood out to me: total value locked increased month over month 8%. So there's money coming into Algorand. When you see total value locked, that's how you understand that. Value is coming in and it's staying in there. RWA TVL, we were just talking about that. Month over month increase 7%. So I'm interested to dig into why isn't Algorand listed on RWA.xyz. They need to be listed on there. Total stablecoin market cap 3% increase month over month. So these are metrics, network metrics that show you Algorand is far from dead. A lot of people will tell you that, but it's not, surely. Monthly active users, pretty nice increase, pretty good increase. Looks like 300, a little bit over 300,000 new monthly active users from throughout the summer. We were floating at 1 million throughout the summer. September, a lot of people jumped on board. Daily active users also showing a nice spike. But now they go into a list of developments. Now, we won't run through all of these, but there were a few that stood out to me. Alchemy Pay now supports ALGO, USDC, and USDT on and off ramps. What's interesting about that is Alchemy Pay also just linked up, made their Alchemy Pay software compatible with Samsung Pay. So what Alchemy Pay does, crypto to fiat conversions, they have offering a list of assets that they offer that you can use to buy things where you would use traditional cash. Algorand is one of those assets. So now Alchemy Pay becoming compatible with Samsung after incorporating Google Pay and Apple Pay. You can look at this relationship as Algorand being one of the assets that through Alchemy Pay you can use to purchase things through Samsung. I know that was a lot, but that's just crypto, baby. You got to love it. Also, like these two video series here, solutions. Algorand's marketing, guys. That's another point. And that's also another reason I added them to the newest portfolio for the year ahead. Algorand's marketing department is crushing everyone right now. It's just straight crushing them right now. All right. I did want to play a clip, but I'm looking at my time. I'm going to make this a separate video. I'm going to make this a separate episode so that way we can dive into those, because I want to explain this relationship right here. So Matt Keller, head of Impact, spoke at UNGA panel from GBBC in New York. The GBBC is the Global Blockchain Business Council. And when they first entered the space, they were pretty quiet. setting up a few conferences here and there. A few speakers were invited. Not really big names, but you can kind of get a hint at what they were trying to do. This is my first time going back to their website in a good 2 years, and now they have apparently formed a relationship. And here's the press release here. Global Blockchain Business Council merges with U.S. Blockchain Coalition to boost emerging technology advocacy at the state level. My immediate question was, what in the world is the U.S. Blockchain Coalition? I did not know this exists. And then I went over to this website. This is pretty impressive. It was founded in June of 2021. Interesting date. That was the summer of the metaverse, June of 2021. We were headed into one of the hottest cycles in crypto. That 2021 run was sensational. The first time we hit 60s, we got into the 60s. That was fun. But this has representatives from all over the United States. What I want to jump straight to here, and you can check this out, blockchaincoalition.org. Look at those names and those faces if you want. But this sums it up right here. Our collective is growing quickly with coverage over 48 states across the United States, leveraging hyperlocal model and with boots on the ground networked across the United States. So we already know Algorand's ties to the United States. They do have a global movement. But what I'm more impressed with is the fact that this even exists. Because we've already made we've been attempting to make numerous connections to the assets that are made here and what they could potentially do here that could bring value to them. One of the steering committee members for this U.S. Blockchain Council is the Texas Blockchain Council, where there's an asset that we like to talk about that is headquartered in Texas. You know? So, by the way, it's Hedera. I was trying to say it without saying it. It's mind-blowing. It truly is. Very impressive to see this after so long. And if Algorand is trying to make headways with an organization like the Global Blockchain Business Council, which does have a list of members that they have made private, like you can find out who their advisors are, but as individual members, that list is still being concealed, along with Circle's Alliance program in their list. But Pact and Lawfully, two applications built on Algorand, have joined their alliance. So Algorand is tying itself in where it needs to be. And this is very good to see, in my opinion. And I really can't wait to see how that really blows. How that U.S. Blockchain Business Council, man, is deep. Well, let's run through these last articles real quick, guys. Ripple launches new feature for a custody arm to tap $16 trillion market. So this is Ripple making a custody play. And I'll tell you this, I'll only bring up Ripple or XRP if it directly implies the XRP ledger. That's the only time you'll hear me talking about it, because it's the only thing that matters between those two companies. This does. According to the official press release, the latest update includes the integration of a transaction screening service, additional hardware security module, options, integration with the XRP ledger for tokenizing real-world assets, pre-configured policy frameworks, and improvements to the platform's usability and user interface. Another little statistic they fit in here, its new customer acquisition has increased by 250% year over year. This is Ripple. So they're introducing this upgrade to this software to maximize on that 250% increase. The service is available in major global financial markets, including Switzerland, Germany, France, the United Kingdom, the U.S., Singapore, and Hong Kong. Good job, Ripple. I hope y'all handle the SEC like y'all supposed to. It's really getting annoying. Now, I will admit to you guys, I was here that day. When news of that came out, I was here. And it was heartbreaking. High Def 2024 goes global. Connect with Constellation Network leaders and blockchain professionals on October 24th. So DAG is hosting a conference, blockchain conference, in a couple weeks, or let's see, a little bit under 14 days. And the rumors on X suggest that Panasonic is somehow going to make an announcement. There was a document from 2022 where Panasonic stated that they were creating this new initiative that's going to be incorporating Constellation Network and the Door technology. You guys remember I showed you that? The Door Miner is their IoT Web3 device. Panasonic is supposed to be acquiring that technology and the plans that they have for that supposed to be announced at this conference, according to my interpretation of what I've seen on X. Now, if you guys come across this part and I need to be corrected, feel free, drop it down in the comments. That's totally fine with me. Stripe reintegrates crypto payments in the US. Yes, they made this announcement earlier in the summer. This is going to do wonders for several payment tokens, because you want to know who one of the founding relationships Stripe has. Stellar Lumens. Yeah. The story goes, it's coming from Jeb, the founder of Stripe, and Jeb have the relationship. And there's an interview, I put it in one of my episodes, I'll have to find it later, where the owner of Stripe explicitly stated we would add Stellar at some point in the future. This was 2020. Looking at all of the integrations that Stellar has had since then, they'd be crazy not to add Stellar to this arsenal. They already have USDC. It's on Ethereum, Solana, and Polygon. Stellar will be next. I'm putting that out there. And we're wrapping up with this story here. Crypto platform supports Brazil real peg stablecoin BRL1 set for launch later this year. This has some real interesting names to it, guys. According to a local source, the new digital asset is designed to simplify cryptocurrency transactions between platforms without requiring traditional banking intermediaries. The project is set to be a step towards integrating blockchain technology into Brazil's financial ecosystem, offering users a faster, more efficient way to manage crypto investments while potentially transforming the country's payment systems. The BRL1 stablecoin will be backed by Brazil's national treasury bonds and will be available later this year with an issuance of 10 million. The consortium expects the stablecoin to reach a stable volume of 100 million within a year and further aims to integrate it into the central bank of Brazil's Drex system in the future. This is a nationally backed stablecoin, guys. It's exactly what I just described to you. And when you have an understanding of what the rest of the world is doing, countries like China, Russia, India, South Africa, Egypt, UAE, man, they added a lot of people. Cuba might be next. I don't know. There's a conference coming up later this month. Might want to look into it. But when you understand what those countries are doing, you need to keep your eye on Brazil. Definitely need to keep your eye on Brazil. That's really it for this one, guys. As far as the headlines, it's just, gotta pardon my pause here. The information that you probably want me to share in this video is going to be reserved for the members. I'll just do it like that. With that, guys, again, been in the space since 2019. I've used dozens of crypto tools. There are 3 that I recommend the most. I'll put them down in the pinned comment. With that, I want to thank you for coming back to the channel. And you know what time it is. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.